Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to What's on the Playlist today. Today I'm going to talk about the album Brave and Crazy by Melissa Etheridge, an image of which you will see here. This is Melissa Etheridge's second album. I don't have her first album, so I can't talk about that. But this is the album that kind of like launched her into popularity, I guess. Kind of kickstarted her career. I think it peaked around 26 on the US charts. I think it did a little bit better than UK. The one criticism I could find online about this is that her sound was kind of samey. Like she didn't, reach out and try new sounds, or it was all very much similar. But, artists have a sound. And this is only her second album. Having said that, like I said, I did mention that this was kind of like her breakthrough album. Another thing that was said about her, she was stated like the female Bruce Springsteen. And I can really, when I saw that in like the reviews and stuff, I could actually, it's like, yeah, I can see that, especially the first song on the album, No Souvenirs, that really, really does have like a Bruce Springsteen vibe to it. But the rest of the album really does not. She still kind of has her own sound. This also is a bit of a break from her like more slow, melancholy tempo of a lot of her other ballads. This album is a bit more up-tempo, a bit more upbeat. You still have like those kind of the similar theme of the kind of regretful or love songs that she is kind of better known for. But they're a bit more peppy, a bit more, not quite as melancholy, I guess I would say. There's just you've got like a song about unrequited love doesn't mean it can't have a bit of positive note to it. It can still sound like a happy song. There weren't really a lot of like major hits that I could find on this album. I mean, they made it to the Billboard charts, but they didn't climb very high, at least not as far as I could see. Another thing for a sophomore album, a sophomore album from an artist, is that this is a really polished album. I was listening to it before recording this, just to kind of give myself a bit of a refresher, and I couldn't help but notice like how solid, the performances of all the musicians were, not just Melissa Etheridge, but her accompanying band. This is just some really solid work. It's not overly complicated, but man, this is, I just think the composition and the performance is just super tight. I guess I hadn't listened to it in a while because I hadn't really thought about it. Yeah, this is a good solid album by Melissa Etheridge, which for a second outing, it's pretty impressive. One of the reasons I want to talk about this album is, and as I usually do, I usually talk about, if I can, my personal relationship with either the album or the artist. And I do have somewhat of a personal relationship with Melissa Etheridge as an artist, because I hated Melissa Etheridge. Let me finish the story. I remember I was working in a warehouse, when she first became popular, and the radio was always playing in the background. And when she became popular, she got put into heavy rotation where I was working, to the point where I could not stand her. Prior to, I didn't really have anything against her music, really. I didn't really have an ear for it. It was just background noise until it became repetitive, until I heard the same song half a dozen times a day over an 8-hour period. It's just like, please, I don't ever want to hear the name Melissa Etheridge ever again, or anything done by her. So a few years go by. I'm not working in the same place anymore. And, Melissa Etheridge is not quite, she's still popular, but she's not the artist of the day. It's not, so there's been some time passed. I'm sitting in my apartment. The wife is cooking dinner. and I'm just kind of flipping through the channels, being a vegetable. And the stage, an empty stage is there. It's like a big empty stage, full auditorium. Like, well, what is this? This woman walks out stage with a guitar, and I had no idea who she was, and she starts playing. And like the music sounded familiar, but it's like I didn't know who the hell. It's like, man, this woman's got a set of pipes. She can really sing. Who is this woman? Who? I gotta know who this is. Commercial break comes up. We'll be right back with the Melissa Etheridge performance. Like, ah, shit. Now I gotta start buying Melissa Etheridge albums. So, I was able to listen to her with a fresh set of ears without having her drilled into my skull. I was able to, thankfully, not knowing who she was. If I'd known who she was, I never would have listened to it. I would have flipped the channel immediately. So I'm glad that I was able to give her an honest, unbiased listen, because I did really, really like the music. And I did start buying her stuff. I don't have everything she owns, or everything she's produced, sorry. Everything she owns. That'd take a lot more money than I have. I don't own everything that she's produced musically. But I have a decent number of her albums, and this album, Brave and Crazy. This is a good, solid album, and if you like her style of music, this kind of smoky, bluesy kind of stuff, these kind of blue ballads, yeah, I really recommend it. And she did become one of my favorite musicians, in spite of everything. So that's that. As always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. And until next time, good hunting.